talking about audio.
The beat I gave you.
Yes, I have it.
You have that
I
beat?
have it.
Did you play it?
I did play it.
Did you play it on here?
I didn't play it on here.
It's not playing.
It'll play when I edit the video.
Will you edit the video and play it?
I will edit the video and play
Because
it.
I kind of wanted to segue into it. And it kind of defeats the purpose now because it's not playing at the point where I needed to segue into it.
I mean, it would behoove you to be a part of the editing process then. You know what I mean?
I'd love to be a part of the editing process.
What?
Disregard.
That pissed you off, didn't it?
Disregard.
So
Yeah. So, guys, welcome to episode. What episode are we on now? We're on number 7. Episode 7. Right? Feels
Sure.
like 7.
Feels like 7.
Pretty sure
Lucky
it's
number 7. This is going to be the one that blows up.
I think so.
It's going to go everywhere.
I hope it does. In fact, I hope all of them go everywhere. If you guys go on Spotify and find us, we're not experts, but is the name of the podcast. So find us on Spotify and coming soon to all platforms. You can also catch us on YouTube and TikTok. So,
TikTok.
You're a TikTok.
You're a bitch.
So it's been a crazy week, and glad we're able to finally get back here and have some more conversation. It's been a while. Yeah, it's definitely been a while. It's been a tumultuous week.
Yeah, I wish I could play a clip of that one fucking song. It's been a while. You know that song?
Yeah, I know that song. It would have been even cooler if you just played it instead of said it.
Well, I got to edit the video, guy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. All right then, buddy.
All right.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm still recovering from the burial of my doggy. It's been an emotional last couple weeks, just getting over that after having him for so long. It's just, yeah, it's you never realize how much you have to recover from, what we like to call pets, but
right,
they're family, and he's definitely one that was very near and dear to my heart. But anyway, that's a different conversation.
R.I.P. Magic.
Wipe my tears away for a real one. Shout out to a real one.
I'll pour one out for Magic.
Yeah, pour one out for him, man.
I'm gonna pour one out for him.
Give him some clinks. He's a tequila drinker, so
gotcha.
Yeah, some Casamigos or some Terramana, and that's his jam.
I'm gonna get some Don Julio.
Ooh, the good stuff.
1942.
Fair enough. All right, that's for a real one right there, buddy. But shout out to young Eric Adams for the beat for this episode. He is an up and coming producer, and he shared his love for music with me. And if you listen to the beginning of the episode, you would have heard one of his beats. Very talented young man. But the beat, it's a little creepy. It's a little spooky, creepy. Which kind of goes hand in hand with what we're going to be talking about today, which is something that you hear it, the chatter, you hear it discussed. If you watch YouTube and you get into all those little creepy rabbit holes, you may definitely
even seen one.
You possibly have seen one. And you've definitely heard the term Skinwalker. This is going to be an interesting topic because there's so much to it, and then there's so much to it that we think we know, and then there's a whole lot that we do know, and then there's even more that we don't know about Skinwalkers. So let's dive into it, man. What do you know about? What have you ever heard about Skinwalkers? What do you know?
Well, I know they're creepy as fuck.
Agreed.
The first time I heard the word, well, not necessarily the exact word Skinwalkers, but have you ever seen True Blood?
No.
You're missing out. It's a great show.
Mm.
A lot of titties.
Oh, got to be a part of that.
Yeah,
Got to be a
100%.
part of that.
Suke. Um, but yeah, there's a guy in there. His name is Sam. He runs a bar in Bontemps, Louisiana.
Oh, Bon Ton,
Bontemps,
near the French Quarter.
correct.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. He's a shapeshifter.
Mm.
For well, just in case you watch that, I don't want to tell you, but
Yeah, don't tell me the story.
he's
Now I got to go watch it. True Blood.
oh fuck! I already told you what Sam was.
Sam as I am.
Sam, I am Sam.
Hmm.
I hate you.
Good to know. So he's a shapeshifter. So I'm assuming he, you know, sh- changes into different forms of beings,
Mostly a
animals,
dog.
and oh, dogs. What is it about dogs? Like what is this thing about? You know, I've looked everywhere, and every time I find something or put the word Skinwalker in, it always goes back to a dog.
Well, I
What is
mean,
so
it kind of
special
goes
about a
back.
dog?
It kind of goes back to the Navajo times.
Hmm.
Skinwalkers originated, from the Navajo tribe, or so I'm reading.
The Ye Nadalushi,
Um,
yes.
correct. So they were basically. Um, there was something else that I saw over here. Give me 2 seconds.
Well, while you talk about it, because I do know a decent bit about the culture of the Yalnalushi from the Navajos, which, ooh, boy, it gets pretty deep and dark.
It
Um,
does.
According to um,
I found it.
the, you found it, but according to the culture and the history of the Skinwalker or Yalnalushi, is that it began, or should I say, it derived from um, these healers wanting to go out and go across the plain safely, and so they would get into these tribal chants, and then they would go through these different songs and things like
Hmm.
that, and to get them to learn how to shapeshift and to shapeshift into things like deer, wolves. Okay, that makes sense. Why the dog thing? Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
wolves, and just different types of animal that were known to roam the plains of the Navajo people's land,
Right.
or the land that the Navajo people dwelled in, because they don't
You
own any
know,
land according to them.
when you talk about it like this, it doesn't seem so scary. It seems so scary.
No, no, this is
You
the
know.
kinder hearted part of it, because this is the part of the history of it where that's what it was derived from. Now,
Right.
mind you, in order to shapeshift, took time. It took years to learn how to do it in that manner. So some people that wanted to get into that realm said, "Hey, this takes way too long. I don't want to do all this. This is too much time in it. I want to go ahead and be. I want to have my power now." And so, according to lore, the dark evil heard this and asked, "If you want to shapeshift, I can help you, but there are some things that are required of you in order for you to do this."
Right.
And so, one of the most, in my opinion, the most carnaged methods to getting to a skinwalker is that you had to kill a loved one.
Mm.
You have to murder someone near and dear to your heart: wife, child, mother, grandmother, brother, sister.
Ooh.
Somebody. It had to be somebody that you loved in order for you to. And this is the first step. Like, this is step one. Like, you think that this is the final step. No, this is step
Right.
one, which lets you know that things just get crazier from there.
We ain't here to
So
fuck around.
right, yeah, yeah. You want to skinwalk. Guess what? This is what you got to do in order to reach these heights. And and listening to a lot of it, in all fairness, they don't really give a whole lot of detail into some of the more darker things that you have to do
Right.
to um, to really reach that level. But killing your family members is enough for me. And then and then there's also having to said kill the type of animal that you are looking to shapeshift into, and bathing in the blood, putting the skin on you to so that your body and your mind connect to what the animal used to be, and it causes you to shift. Now it even gets darker than that, because what happens is the evil takes over the person.
It always does.
Yes, and then that person becomes less human the more they shapeshift,
Right.
and they become more demonic, or a realm of witchery, witchcraft. You know, very evil beings that began to um, feed off of people's fears.
So they basically don't start off as skinwalkers,
Correct.
actually, because in Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The
Hmm.
term is never used for healers.
Correct. Never.
So they're correct. So there were some healers that had the ability to
To shapeshift.
shapeshift as well, but
Hmm.
they weren't called skinwalkers.
Right. Yeah, the Yanatlushi only came about after the evil side of
Hmm.
what is now considered the Skinwalker took place, and then that just kind of just spanned across uh, countless generations. A lot of experiences. Um, Even to this day, a lot of the accounts that happen in Nevada, in the desert where the Indian reservations are, they still talk about
Right.
seeing and experiencing these entities, showing up. Um,
Yeah.
they have the ability to mimic your voice, mimic a voice
Hmm.
of a family member, something that um, is close to you. So
Right.
that makes it very easy for them to lure you to where they are. Um, there's been accounts where there was this one guy. He talked about him and his friend were sitting on a porch, and they were just hanging out. It was dusk, and they said that while they were sitting there, all of a sudden they both kind of just froze in fear. They heard this female voice singing, or singing an Indian song, or
Oh
it
no.
sounded of an Indian song, and but they said it just came out of nowhere, and they
Can't
didn't
say
see anybody.
Indian.
Hmm?
It's Native American.
Native American. I'm sorry, correction. This Native American song, and it freaked them out, and so they were literally frozen. Um, and they said they heard steps coming towards them, and then the dog started barking, and when that happened, it ran away, and they could hear it running, and they could see, or no, they felt this breeze, and it was not windy that day, but this breeze came through, and as they looked down the road, they can see where the trees were just kind of breaking with the wind,
Hmm.
as if something was running, or like the wind was moving through the trees.
Like Naruto running through the woods.
Bingo, just yeah. And so they said that once it got far off in the distance, it stopped, and the wind stopped blowing, and then the dogs kind of calmed down a little bit, and they kind of looked at each other like, "What the fuck was that?" and 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 so when they said that, around that time, all of a sudden they hear it. They could hear it coming back in their direction. Then the dogs barked, and they started barking louder again as it got closer.
I'd be running.
And that's when they were like, okay, it's time to go inside.
Yeah.
And so they never saw anything aside from the weirdness of the trees, and
Right.
the wind. But they reached out to one of their family members who was an elder who knew a shaman, And the shaman came to the house, and he was like, "Yeah, this house definitely has an evil presence that's been around it."
Mm,
And so they did a ritual to get it out of there. And and in fact, they said that they had to do the ritual 3 times before the event stopped. They said it happened multiple times, and they had to do this ritual, and finally it subsided.
hmm
But yeah, and that's one of just countless stories of people experiencing these things. They've had some that talked about actually seeing the skinwalker actually shapeshift, right before their eyes.
Right.
They saw the whole transition and just freaked them out, and again, they would do this. They they would have this recognizable voice because it also says that they can read minds. So they can
Mm,
read your mind, and they know your thoughts, and they know the people that are around you and things like that. So they take that and then they use that against you, and causes you to be lured to them. And in
mm,
in the cases where you have skinwalkers allegedly that shapeshift into other humans, um, these humans um, learn you basically, and they do all these things to manipulate you so they can take you. And whatever the hell skinwalkers do, they eat you or consume your soul or whatever the case may be. But they in a sense, like the devil does, they do all these things to encourage you to um, you know conform to what they want you to do.
yeah. I mean, it's almost like they're feeding off of you,
Yeah.
off your fear.
Hmm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
wanting to drive you to corruption.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of corruption, you go a little further down the rabbit hole, you start hearing about the context of skinwalkers being in government
Bro,
government entities,
I'm telling
um,
you, Joe Biden.
and that's where it gets really weird.
And
Yeah,
the only reason I say Joe Biden,
mhm,
um, I watched a video of Joe Biden,
mhm.
and the back of his neck. I mean, I can't even explain it. I'd have to show you the video, but it looked like he was either wearing a mask or something. Maybe he's one of those fucking lizard people.
That's another one. Oh man, that one there gets whew.
A lot of people say that the lizard. Well, I won't say a lot of people, but people that tend to talk about shit like this.
People in sectors that talk about paranormal activity and things of that
Yeah.
nature.
So us.
Hmm. Yeah, essentially
But they're saying that there's a whole nother world, you know,
within our world.
below our feet,
Hmm.
and that they've grown tired of us destroying the planet, blah 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 blah. So they're coming up and posing as high value people in our government, and they are trying to destroy it from the inside.
Hmm. But then ooh, that beckons the question of their intelligence and how long they've been here. Have they been here before us? And then it also beckons the questions even further, of the Skinwalker lore. Um, are they one and the same, or is the Skinwalker a derivative of them, or are they a derivative of the Skinwalker?
Dude, you really need to watch True Blood. Because
Yeah,
not only do they have skinwalkers, but they have like witches and fucking fairies and vampire, obviously vampires and shit. But
True Blood.
yeah, it's actually really cool. The
Hmm.
story, the first part of it kind of gets a little repetitive, I
Hmm.
guess, because you got Bill
Yeah.
and he's like, "Suki," you know. You'd have to see it.
Yeah, because I didn't catch that context. but
Soke.
yeah, I mean, where do stories come from?
Well, with Skinwalker specifically, from Navajo culture,
Mm, yeah.
I'm sure.
Mm.
I'm sure that, like, you ever played that game where you got like 10 people and you tell the first person something, and by the time it gets to the last person, it's something
The
completely
story's different.
different?
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, that could be, something of what's going on here, too.
Yeah, some Navajo may have had on an animal's
Yeah.
fur or something, or wore the
Oh,
skin of an
man.
animal,
He looked like a
and he
wolf,
was out there in
because
the field, and he was
yeah,
chanting maybe or something like that, and then somebody saw him like, man, did
he
you see
shapeshifted.
Chief? Did you see Chief running all out there in the field? He was out there, I couldn't even recognize him. I mean, his skin started turning into fur. I couldn't believe it.
Crazy.
And then the next person said, I heard that Chief Runamal was out there and he was shifting into an animal. And then the third person is, Chief
Yeah.
Runamal was shifting into an animal. And so, like, and now here comes this whole story of, but I mean, again, you know, there are these accounts that people are talking about. Are they true? I don't know. I haven't experienced them. But there are so many people that, describe these interactions, and they all kind of sound the same.
Yeah.
Now the weird thing is, the whole, this new age stuff where these the dogs, I mean, what shapeshifter wants to shapeshift into a poodle?
You might.
A poodle,
You might be into that thing. I don't know.
harmless poodle.
You're a harmless poodle.
Oh, okay. So some of it, it's like, no, you just got a weird acting dog. That's not a shapeshifter. But there have been things like they've seen, deer acting erratically, or
Yeah.
doing things that deer don't typically do.
I've seen some animals doing some weird shit, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
They,
weird shit.
there was this one video I saw on TikTok where this dog, this owner got up late at night, heard some noise in his kitchen, and goes around the corner and sees his dog walking upright, just walking about the house.
Right.
And when he saw him, he kind of jumped back down, on all fours, like, oh shit, you know.
Well,
But
not supposed to be doing that.
yeah, and then there was a case where this guy found his dog in the bathroom, and the door was completely closed, and the dog opened the door and was standing up, and kind of went to open the door and saw him out there, and like, oh shit, and kind of closed the door behind him, like, oh shit, he caught me.
I think I actually saw that video.
Yeah, I'm sure you have that one.
I'm
That one
I'm
has
I'm
circulated
pretty
a
sure
lot.
I have.
That one circulated a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, the lore of it definitely changed quite a bit from the Navajo people
Yeah, for
once it
sure.
once it got westernized, and then everybody's seen a skinwalker or experienced some anomaly that they thought would be considered something relating to a skinwalker, like a random dog walking up to you. It's not a
It's funny.
skinwalker.
Mel thought he saw skinwalkers
At Mills Hole.
at Mel's Hole.
Coming to a
He
topic soon, we
he
will be
actually did.
discussing Mel's Hole,
We actually
and we
will.
will get into detail on what Mel's Hole actually is. We're not going to do that right now, but that's going to be another really good one.
But he actually did. He thought he saw skinwalkers. The entire story is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. They're all these stories and these accounts are all just beyond belief because of what is described in them. Yeah, they of course Of course, they sound beyond belief because that's just not what you're accustomed to seeing or experiencing in your life. So to hear somebody say, "Hey, man, I just saw this weird shit where this fucking human figure, I couldn't make out his face, but fucker turned into a goddamn rabbit," you know, and you're like, "Okay," but things happen. There's a lot of weird shit in the world. There's a lot of weird shit that we don't ever see, that we don't get to see, that happens every day.
There's a lot of weird shit that just literally can't be explained.
Correct.
Some of the shit is just absolutely nuts, to be honest with you. Because some of these stories that these people tell, my- these things have to come from somewhere, though, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like vampires didn't just come out of fucking nowhere.
Right.
You know, th- something happened at some time where somebody saw something, somebody was fucking biting somebody's neck. You know what I mean? Somebody saw something.
It's funny you say that because I actually heard that there is a rare genetic disorder that causes people to uh, hunger for the taste of blood.
Hmm,
Very, very small number of people that this has happened to, but there are accounts.
that's what they want us to think.
Yes, yes, but there are genetic disorders um, for people just interested in the taste and sight of blood.
Well, actually, I've seen some um, people like that before. I don't know if
Mhm.
you remember that show or familiar with it. The one where they were doing obsessive things.
Oh, my,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
My something obsession.
yeah,
There was one guy on there. He was obsessed with eating raw meat. I mean, he would go and just fucking pick up hamburger and just
yeah, yeah. I've seen things like that.
yeah.
So yes, I mean these things can definitely be true, and they can also go back to what we said initially, that the story. Hey man, I saw this fucker eating raw meat, and then that goes to another person. Hey man, I heard that this guy was eating on an animal. And the third person, hey man, I heard this guy was just out there sucking blood out of a goddamn human. And so now the story it just starts to just take shape into something that is more diabolical because it sounds better when you say
Yeah.
that versus, hey man, saw this guy out there chewing on some raw fucking ham. That can only go but so far. But if you say, hey, I saw this guy, take a pig and
Bite his butt
bite
cheeks
his
off.
ass off, while he was still alive, and then he, was growling at, that now now you got a story, and it sounds a whole lot better when I can explain it that way because it just sounds cooler. But there is still that percentage of that shit might be true. That may be a real thing. That could very well be a thing.
Well, let me ask you, do you actually think it's true? Or do you think people just want supernatural things to be true in real life?
I mean, I think we always want something more than what we are. That's why we, embrace this whole idea of superpower beings. Um, we create our own fears. Being shot's not enough. Being raped or pillaged by a human is not enough. I need to have something unnatural kill somebody. I need to have you know a thing that's not a person. I need and not an animal either. I need to create this whole idea that there's something more villainous than animal or human. And so now, boom, I got Dracula, I got the werewolf, I got the Mothman, I got all these different. I got a Yeti, I got the Bigfoot, I got witches, demons, all these different things. They can
Do
be, but the scary part about that is manifestation.
yeah.
There is accounts that in the paranormal that even talk about that some types of paranormal activity have been brought on by your own energy fields that
Hmm.
there's not. in actual any. There's nothing going on. There's no ghosts. It's your energy field causing these things to happen, and you believe in it so much that it's a ghost, and the
That's a real
fear.
thing, though.
It is, yeah,
You
and
can literally speak stuff into existence.
yes, and so you now succumb to that fear, and now you start falling off walls, and
Hmm.
doors start opening and closing, and all kind of weird stuff starts happening in the atmosphere around you, and it's
Well,
all something that you created.
yeah, I think the supernatural, if you will, are drawn to people with heightened, energy levels like that. I mean,
Hmm.
uh, do you think that, like, when the Salem witch trials and all that shit was going on, do you think that people were trying to look for an excuse to blame something supernatural on people because no normal person could act and do some of the things that these, people were doing?
Yeah, I mean, well, and to add even more context to that, during that time, hell, if you had more strength than the average person did in that time, you were considered not non-human.
Right.
Um, women were deemed as witches for so many different things. She could only have girl children.
Hmm.
Animals flocked around her. Just all these different things that
If you have
they
one
would
more daughter, you're a witch.
yeah, so they would deem you, canonize you as these different evil beings just because you had, you know, what we have now. Just people just have different abilities. People have
Yeah.
different brain power. People utilize certain parts of their brain and their bodies better than others. They're genetically built better than other people. That's just genetics. That has nothing to do with any um, um, magic or anything like that. And
Right.
so oftentimes that stuff got misconstrued with the idea of the beings uh non-human or from
Hmm.
a witch, and but it can go but two ways too. There could have very well been something that happened and caused people in this time to believe that you know if you act this way you're considered a witch, or
Right.
or a warlock, or these things that they thought that people were. Like, even for example, people that grew too much body hair, facial hair, they were considered half animal.
Hmm.
You know, so it can go either way, honestly, man. I mean, with that type of stuff happening, it had to have come from somewhere, whether it be made up or there was legit something that happened at some point, and they were like, "Holy shit, okay, the next time I see somebody doing something irrational or acting out, it's kind of the same actions that I saw from this thing. So now
Right.
everybody that acts a certain way, yeah,
They're
now they're going to
associated with it.
canonize you and they're going to
Hmm.
associate with you with that particular thing. So it's possible, but it also, again, there is that percentage that's a possible thing that really actually happened. And like with Skinwalkers, I've seen some people act kind of weird. I've seen people do some weird stuff. I've seen people, I've seen countless videos of people
I think that's just
acting.
drugs, though.
Yeah.
Bro,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I
A lot of
I
that can be
saw a video.
drug induced.
I saw a video yesterday. Yesterday, this dude, I don't even know how he was standing up, bro. His back, or body, I guess, was completely bent over backwards, almost touching the back of his fucking legs, and he's just standing there. This was in Los Angeles as well. I mean, we know what goes on in Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure.
But Like I said, this was in Los Angeles, but the dude was completely bent over backwards and standing up. Somebody walked over and tried to push him, and he didn't fucking budge.
Yeah, that drug that does that is very interesting. Yeah, I
Wait,
mean,
which one?
it puts them in a I don't even know what it's called, um, but it puts people in that zombie like state or that suspended animation state.
Goddamn fentanyl.
yeah, yeah, that's some weird shit. Like that's
Bro,
and more and
fentanyl
more
be out
people
here killing
are on
people,
that.
sir.
More and more people are on that drug, and it's the crazy. I can't get on a drug that would make me like that. If I saw you on that drug, I'm not gonna look at you and be like, I gotta get me some of that.
I want to try that.
Yeah, like that's not. No, I wouldn't want to do that.
I mean, I personally don't like to be out of my own mind. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
like to be in control,
control.
and
Yeah,
yeah, I've always been that way.
yeah.
That's why I typically stick to alcohol because I know
Crack.
when I've had enough. I mean, I've never done crack
Oh,
before
I thought you were going with crack. I'm sorry.
because I'm white.
No, because you're in Florida.
Such a racist.
Yeah, but I agree. I've never. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've tried marijuana in the past.
No,
I
you
didn't
haven't.
like it. I didn't like it. Did not like it. It.
I never tried anything.
I don't believe that, but I will say I didn't like it. You know,
What
I
is
don't see
drugs?
the fascination with it um, to the degree that it is. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, mellowing out and getting chill, cool. But the stuff that I experienced while smoking, that's not me. You know, the delayed reaction, the delayed, like I'm looking at you and I can see your mouth moving, but I don't hear shit. And then all of a sudden now it comes. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Don't
No,
like that. Don't like that at all. But hey, to each his own. I mean, eh, marijuana does have its medicinal purposes, and I
100%.
totally agree with that. But as a recreational thing, it's not. It's not for me. Just not for me. Now, if that's your jam, hey, do what you do. But I
I
like to
don't
be in
consider it
control.
as a drug, honestly.
It's not. Yeah, no, it's not a drug for sure. Drugs are man-made and derivative of chemicals.
You gotta,
Marijuana is not of
mix
that.
it. Water, baking soda, stir it up. I don't know the recipe. I'm just saying. That was a Cat Williams
What about that? Yeah,
That was a
exactly.
Cat Williams reference, just in
You
case you
sell
didn't know.
drugs, Brandon, is what you're saying.
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
Never done drugs, never sold drugs.
hmm
What is drugs?
Drugs are bad, is what they are.
Just ask Russell.
Or Ronald Reagan.
Turn right around.
Just right around.
Turn right
Shout
around
out
and
to
ask
another real
Ronald
one.
Reagan.
Shout out to another real one. He's just gonna turn right around. And
Turn right around.
yeah. But speaking of drugs, could drugs have been one of the things that caused the Native Americans to say that they saw these beings? Because I
They did
mean,
smoke a lot of peyote.
they smoked a lot of peyote, buddy, and ayahuasca is also um, something that they use a lot to what they say go into this other realm
Hmm.
to speak to their ancestors and things like that. So
There's so many references in like the movies and books that I've read and but TV shows and shit like that specifically
as far as what?
for even Stargate Atlantis. I was
Hmm.
watching it's one of my favorite TV shows. Great fucking show. It's like
It
four or
is.
five seasons.
Hmm.
Roxanne hates when I watch it because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
But they had this one episode where they meet this Native American tribe on, some random planet, and then they end up, going to some whole other realm, and he turns into a fucking wolf, and then he's
Mm,
meeting with some elder wolf, and yeah. But there's
interesting.
there's so many different kind of references though.
Hmm. Very cool. I mean, there's a strong possibility that I mean, and we're going to talk about this at some point. DMT.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. But these experiences of um, psychedelic uh, vision, could that be the reason why people are seeing skinwalkers? Or
100%.
yeah,
100%.
so and I'm a bit of a skeptic, but I'm also one who is open to you know things that we are not accustomed to seeing as well.
I'm just glad you don't have that window behind you anymore, because if something pops
I
up,
know, because that dude was always staring at me in that window.
the
That
saw
freaked me
guy.
out. Hmm. Yeah, you know what freaked me out too? The other night I was listening to this guy on YouTube, and actually, in fact, he was talking about um, skinwalkers. Um, he really actually had some really good information. Shanclin Shadow Productions is the YouTube channel. Very good information from, and it came from the Navajo culture, or the Native American culture.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of the information that he was talking about, it wasn't really on, um, you know, the more traditional dogs, cats, stuff like that. No, and in fact, he went into the history of it pretty detailed. It was very good. So if you ever get a chance, you should definitely check him out. It's again, it's the Shanklin Shadow Productions. Yeah,
You'll have to send that to me.
yeah, very good, very good. And and I like listening to guys like that because they do the research, and they're going to give you good information on these things. You make your
Yeah.
your decision or your opinion from there, but at least you're now with more information than you were to go and try and piece things together. And
At
he
least you
got
have all the facts though.
exactly, and all this information that he has comes from his. He's a Native American as well,
Hmm.
and a lot of this information comes from his elders and some of the leaders in the tribes that have all of this historic information that they're willing to share with people like him, which helps. I mean, it helps to the context, and it helps from people putting out misinformation too.
Yeah.
But I'm
Misinformation is probably a big problem when it comes to shit like this though.
in a paranormal realm. Misinformation reigns true tenfold.
Yeah, 100%.
Because and it goes back to what we said before. People want more than
Well,
what's actually being said or seen.
I'm sure some of it is misinformation, but
Hmm.
there's probably some people spreading disinformation.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We live in the world now of the deep fake.
Yeah.
Um, some of
This
these kids
background
are.
behind me might not even be real.
I might not even be the real person. I might be my AI. This voice you're hearing, it's not me.
It's not me.
No. In fact, I'm in the Virgin Islands right now. But
That AI
so
shit's pretty crazy though.
yeah, I mean, you got a lot of people that are really good at doing this stuff. They're fucking Photoshop ninjas. They're uh, digital wizards. They can do any and everything. So, but that part sucks because now that we live in the age of
Television.
technology, we can't differentiate between what's real and what's not,
Right.
which almost full circles back to the
Project
time
Bluebeam?
of the witch trials. No, not Project Bluebeam, even further back than that. That goes back to that time during the witch trials
Mm-hmm.
where misinformation could not be deciphered from what was
Right.
actually true. So now everything is either real or it's all fake.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but continue to be a truth seeker, continue to be a person that speaks out on things like this, guys and girls out there listening. Don't let the fact that all this misinformation come out deter you from giving people the information, because the real ones will dissect all of the information, and they'll come to a conclusion that aligns with yours, or they won't. But hey, you can't
Yeah.
save everybody.
That you can't.
Yeah, man.
That was deep.
I'm a deep brother sometimes.
No, you're not.
I get real deep, brother. You know what I'm saying? I get to, I go to finger snapping and talking
Whatever the
like
fuck
this, and
that's supposed to mean.
hey, brother, you got to understand how this works, brother.
Stop talking like that. Hey, brother, you got
You got to watch out for the man, brother.
for the man.
But yeah, hey, guys, if you got any information on this topic on skinwalkers, real information, I'd love to hear from you. Specifically, the Native American culture, guys. If you want to, I know that you, like anybody, don't like for people to tear apart your culture and your history. So we'd love to hear from you guys, and put that information out. Let us know what you think.
Even if you don't know shit about it.
Still join the conversation.
Yeah. If there's any questions you want to know, anything that you've been wanting to ask, something that you'd like us to talk about on one of these podcasts, we'd be more than happy to answer.
Yeah. And with that being said, guys, appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. And we'll see you on the flip side.
Will we though?
Where's the flip side?
Skinwalkers go?